It was a sunny Saturday morning in Brisbane, and the Healer family was gathered in the backyard. Bingo stood next to a shiny red pedal bike with a bow tied to the handlebars. Her big brown eyes sparkled with excitement. She had been riding her balance bike like a champion for months, and now it was time to try a big kid bike with pedals and handbrakes. "Are you ready, Bingo?" asked Bandit, her dad, kneeling beside her. "Ready, as I'll ever be," Bingo said, gripping the handlebars tightly. Bluey zoomed past on her own bike, shouting, "Come on, Bingo! You'll love it! It feels like flying! Yeah! Like flying, but on wheels," Bingo muttered nervously. Chili, Bingo's mom, crouched down next to her. "Don't worry, love. We all start a bit wobbly, but the trick is to keep pedaling and remember to squeeze the brakes gently if you need to stop." "Okay, Mum," Bingo said, taking a deep breath. Bandit held the back of the bike as Bingo climbed on. She wobbled a bit, but Bandit steadied her. "All right, champ, let's get you moving. Just pedal nice and slow, and I'll be right here holding on." Bingo began to pedal, her legs spinning awkwardly at first. The bike jerked forward, and she let out a nervous giggle. "Dad, don't let go!" "I won't let go just yet," Bandit promised, jogging alongside her. With each turn of the pedals, Bingo started to feel more confident. Bandit gradually loosened his grip, and before she knew it, Bingo was pedaling all by herself. "Dad, are you still holding on?" she called out. Bandit stopped running and waved. "Not anymore, Bingo! You're doing it!" Bingo's eyes widened in surprise, and for a moment she wobbled. But then she remembered what her mum had said. "Keep pedaling." She focused, steadied herself, and kept going. "I'm riding! I'm riding!" Bingo shouted, her tail wagging with joy. Bluey cheered from the side. "Woohoo! Go, Bingo!" Bingo made it to the end of the yard and carefully squeezed the handbrakes, coming to a smooth stop. She hopped off her bike and jumped up and down with excitement. "I did it! I really did it!" Chili clapped and gave Bingo a big hug. "We're so proud of you, sweetheart. Now we can ride together all the time," Bluey said, running over. "Yeah," Bingo said, beaming. "Let's go again." The rest of the day was spent riding up and down the yard, laughing and racing. As the sun set, Bingo sat on the grass, tired but happy. Her new bike gleamed in the golden light. That night, as Bingo snuggled into bed, she whispered to her mum, "Thanks for helping me, Mum, and tell Dad he can let go of the bike anytime now." Chili chuckled. "You've got it all on your own now, Bingo. Sweet dreams, my big bike rider." And with that, Bingo drifted off to sleep, dreaming of more bike adventures with her family. The next morning, Bingo woke up bright and early. The first thing she did was peek out her bedroom window to make sure her shiny red bike was still in the backyard. It glowed in the morning sun, and she grinned. At breakfast, she had an idea. "Mum, Dad, can we ride our bikes to the park today?" Chili smiled. "That sounds like a great idea, Bingo. What do you think, Bandit?" "I'm up for it," Bandit said, sipping his coffee. "It's a perfect day for a family bike ride." "Yay!" Bingo cheered. "Bluey, you're coming too, right?" "Of course," Bluey said, grinning. "We'll race to the swings." After breakfast, the healers got ready. Chili packed a picnic, Bandit grabbed helmets for everyone, and soon they were all standing outside with their bikes. "All right, everyone," Bandit said, adjusting his helmet. "We'll stick together. Remember, Bingo, watch where you're going, and if you need to stop, just use your handbrakes gently." "Got it, Dad," Bingo said, already climbing onto her bike. The family set off down the street, Bingo riding between Bandit and Chili, with Bluey zooming ahead now and then before circling back. "This is fun," Bingo said, her tail wagging as she pedaled. "You're doing great, kiddo," Bandit said. As they rode through the neighborhood, Bingo noticed all sorts of things she hadn't seen before. Colorful flowers in gardens, a group of kookaburras laughing in a tree, and even a cat napping on a fence. "Look, Mum, that cat's having a snooze," Bingo said, pointing. "It must be a very lazy Sunday for them," Chili chuckled. Soon they reached a small hill. Bingo stopped at the bottom and looked up nervously. "Do I have to go up there?" "You can do it, Bingo," Chili encouraged. "Just pedal slowly and steady. We'll be right here." Bingo took a deep breath and started pedaling. The hill was tricky, but she focused hard, pushing down on the pedals. Halfway up, she wobbled. "I can't do it," she said, stopping. "You're almost there," Bluey shouted from the top. "Come on, Bingo." With Bandit riding just behind her, Bingo gave it one more big push, and she made it to the top. "I did it," she shouted triumphantly. "Woohoo!" Bandit cheered. "Great work, Bingo." The best part came next, going down the other side. Wee! Bingo laughed as she zoomed downhill, feeling the wind in her fur. Finally, they reached the park. The Healer family parked their bikes by a tree and spread out their picnic blanket. After a snack of sandwiches and watermelon, Bluey and Bingo ran off to play on the swings and climb the jungle gym. Race you to the slide, Bingo, Bluey called. You're on, Bingo shouted back, giggling as she ran. After playing to their heart's content, the family rode their bikes back home. This time, Bingo wasn't nervous at all. She even led the way for part of the ride. That night, as Bingo lay in bed, she whispered, "Thanks for taking me to the park, Mum. I love riding bikes." Chili kissed her goodnight, and we love riding with you, Bingo. Sweet dreams, my little adventurer. And with that, Bingo drifted off to sleep, dreaming of more adventures on her red bike. A few days after their park adventure, Bingo woke up feeling extra excited. The summer sun was shining brightly, and the day was already warm. As she stretched in bed, an idea popped into her head. Mum! Dad! She called, bounding into the kitchen where the family was having breakfast. Can we ride our bikes to the pool today? Please? The pool? Bluey said, perking up. Great idea, Bingo. It's perfect swimming weather. Bandit smiled. That does sound refreshing. What do you think, Chili? I think it's a fantastic plan, Chili said. We'll pack our swim stuff and some snacks for after. But remember, it's a bit farther than the park, so we'll have to pace ourselves. I can do it, Bingo said, determined. After breakfast, the healers got ready. Chili packed towels, goggles, and snacks in a big backpack, while Bandit checked everyone's helmets. Soon they were on their bikes, heading down the path toward the pool. The ride was full of excitement. Bingo loved the way the wind felt as she pedaled faster, and Bluey kept pointing out funny shapes in the clouds. Look, that one looks like a pineapple, Bluey said, laughing. And that one looks like a dog. Oh, wait, that's just us, Bandit joked, making everyone giggle. As they got closer to the pool, they came across a long, bumpy path. Bingo looked at it nervously. Do I have to ride over that? You'll be fine, Bingo, Chili said. Just hold on to your handlebars and keep pedaling slowly. With a deep breath, Bingo started down the path. The bumps made her giggle. It feels like I'm on a bumpy roller coaster, she said. You're a natural, Bingo, Bandit said, riding just behind her. Finally, they arrived at the pool. Bingo hopped off her bike and looked up at the tall blue gates with a big grin. We made it. Inside, the family found a shady spot to leave their things. Bingo couldn't wait to jump into the water. She grabbed her goggles and ran toward the shallow end. Cannonball, she shouted, leaping in with a big splash. Nice one, Bingo, Bluey said, splashing in after her. The girls spent hours swimming, diving, and playing games like Marco Polo. Bandit floated on a pool noodle, pretending to be a sleepy sea lion, while Chili showed Bingo how to practice kicking underwater. After a while, Bingo climbed out and sat on the edge, swinging her legs in the water. This is the best day ever, she said happily. It really is, Bluey agreed, swimming up beside her. When it was time to leave, the healers dried off, had a quick snack of fruit and crackers, and hopped back on their bikes. Bingo felt proud as she pedaled all the way home, even after a big day of swimming. That evening, as Bingo snuggled into bed, she whispered to her mom, "Thanks for taking us to the pool, Mom. I love swimming and biking too." Chili smiled and kissed her forehead. And we love going on adventures with you, sweetheart. Sleep tight. As Bingo drifted off, she dreamed of all the places she might ride her bike next. The beach, the mountains, maybe even outer space. Whatever came next, she was ready for the adventure. One morning, Bingo woke up with a new idea buzzing in her head. As she got ready for breakfast, she thought about how much fun she'd had riding her bike to the park and the pool. That's when it hit her. What if she rode her bike to school? She burst into the kitchen where Chili was packing lunches and Bluey was munching on toast. Mom, Dad, can I ride my bike to school today? Bandit looked up from his coffee. To school, hey? That's a big step, Bingo. Bluey grinned. That sounds fun. Can I ride my bike too? Chili smiled. I think that's a great idea. It's not too far and we'll all ride together. Yay, Bingo cheered, wagging her tail. This is going to be the best school day ever. After breakfast, the family got ready. Bingo made sure her helmet was snug. Bandit strapped on Bluey's lunchbox to his bike rack, and Chili double-checked the route. Now remember, Bingo, Chili said, kneeling beside her. We'll ride in a line, Stay close to the side of the path and stop at every crossing to look both ways. Got it, Mum, Bingo said, hopping onto her shiny red bike. The family set off, with Chili leading the way, Bluey in the middle, and Bandit bringing up the rear to keep an eye on Bingo. The ride started smoothly. Bingo loved hearing the birds chirping in the trees and feeling the breeze on her fur as she pedaled. Along the way, she saw other kids riding bikes with their families, too. At the first big intersection, Chili stopped and turned to the girls. Okay, what do we do here? Stop, look both ways, and wait until it's clear, Bingo said proudly. That's my girl, Chili said with a smile. After crossing safely, the path became a bit trickier. It had a few twists and turns that Bingo wasn't used to. Mum, this bit is hard, Bingo called out as she wobbled around a sharp curve. You're doing great, Bingo, Bandit said, encouraging her. Just take it slow. Bingo focused, pedaling carefully through the turns. When she made it to the straight path again, she let out a big sigh of relief. Phew, I did it! You're a natural, Bluey said, grinning. Finally, the family reached the school gates. Bingo hopped off her bike and parked it in the bike rack, feeling like the biggest kid in the world. I can't believe I rode all the way to school, she said, beaming with pride. Chili gave her a hug. We're so proud of you, Bingo. You've worked hard to get here. Bluey added, now we can ride to school together every day. Bingo smiled. That would be awesome. As the bell rang, Bingo waved goodbye to her parents and walked into the schoolyard with Bluey. She felt like the luckiest pup in the world, knowing she had started her day with a big adventure. That afternoon, as they rode home, Bingo was already thinking of all the fun she'd have riding to school tomorrow, and maybe even teaching her friends how to ride their bikes too. One weekend morning, Bingo sat in the backyard, staring at the little dirt trail that twisted and turned through the trees near their house. Bluey had told her stories about riding on dirt trails with her knobby tired bike, and now Bingo wanted to try it herself. Dad, Bingo called, running inside. Can I ride on the dirt trails today? Please? Bandit raised an eyebrow. The dirt trails, eh? That's a bit trickier than riding on the road or to school, mate. I know, Bingo said, wagging her tail excitedly. But I really want to try, Chili smiled. Well, it sounds like someone is ready for an adventure. But Bingo, your bike isn't made for dirt trails. You'll need something sturdier. Bluey perked up. She can use my bike. It's got knobby tires and it's awesome on dirt. Really? Bingo's eyes lit up. Sure, but you'll have to take good care of it, Bluey said. I will, promise, Bingo said, bouncing with excitement. Bandit clapped his hands. All right, Trailblazer, let's get you set up. Bluey's bike was a bit bigger than Bingo's, but with Bandit adjusting the seat, it fit her perfectly. The tires had deep treads, perfect for gripping the uneven ground. Now, dirt trails can be bumpy, Bandit explained. Remember to keep your hands steady on the handlebars and don't go too fast. If you see a rock or a root, just ride around it. I'll be careful, Dad, Bingo said, already imagining herself as a fearless trail explorer. Chili packed a small backpack with water and snacks, and soon the family was off. This time, they rode toward the wooded park near their home, where the dirt trails twisted and turned like a maze. When they reached the start of the trail, Bingo stopped and looked down the narrow, dusty path. It looks a bit scary, she admitted. Bluey hopped off her bike and stood next to her. It's not so bad once you start. Just think of it like a big adventure. Okay, Bingo said, taking a deep breath. I'm ready. Chili and Bandit stayed close behind as Bingo and Bluey rode ahead. The trail was bumpy, with small rocks and patches of grass, but Bluey's bike handled it well. Whoa, Bingo said as her wheels bounced over a tree root. This is bumpy. That's the fun part, Bluey called over her shoulder. The trail soon led to a small hill. Bingo stopped at the bottom and stared up at it. Do I have to go up there? You've done it before, Chili encouraged from behind. Just stand up on the pedals if it feels tricky. Bingo gritted her teeth and pushed forward. She stood up just like her mom said and made it all the way to the top. I did it, she shouted, throwing her paws in the air. Nice work, champ, Bandit said, puffing as he caught up. The best part came next, going downhill. The dirt path twisted like a roller coaster, and Bingo squealed with excitement as she zoomed down. She felt like she was flying. Woohoo! She shouted, her tail wagging furiously. At the bottom of the hill, the trail opened into a clearing with a big log perfect for sitting. The healers stopped to take a break. "You're a natural, Bingo," Bluey said, handing her a water bottle. "Thanks for letting me use your bike," Bingo said, her face beaming with pride. "This was so much fun." As they rode home later that afternoon, Bingo was already planning her next trail adventure. "Maybe next time we can ride the really long trail," she said. Bandit chuckled. "One trail at a time, mate. You've got plenty of time to become the Healer family trailblazer." That night, as Bingo lay in bed, she thought about the bumps, twists, and turns of the dirt trail. She smiled, already dreaming about her next big adventure on Bluey's knobby-tired bike. The next morning, Bingo woke up even more excited. She could still feel the thrill of bouncing over tree roots and zooming down hills from the day before. As she ate her Wheat Bix at the kitchen table, she turned to Bandit. "Dad, can we ride on a longer dirt trail today? I want to see where it leads." Bandit raised an eyebrow. "A longer one, eh? Feeling like an expert already, are you?" Chili chuckled. "It does sound fun, but the longer trails can be pretty tricky, Bingo. Are you sure you're ready for that?" "I'm sure," Bingo said, puffing out her chest. "I'll be extra careful, promise," Bluey chimed in. "If Bingo's going, I'm coming too. I want to see if she can keep up with me this time." "Oh, it's on now," Bingo said, grinning. After breakfast, Bandit checked the bikes, Chili packed sandwiches and extra water, and the family set off for a longer trail in the national park nearby. This one was famous for its winding paths, tall trees, and even a small creek crossing. When they reached the trailhead, Bingo's eyes grew wide. The path disappeared into a thick forest, and she could hear kookaburras laughing in the distance. "This looks like a real adventure," she whispered. "It sure is," Bandit said, adjusting his helmet. "Stay close to us, Bingo, and remember, if anything feels too tricky, it's okay to stop and walk your bike." "Got it, Dad," Bingo said, gripping Bluey's knobby-tired bike with determination. The trail started off smooth and easy, winding gently between the trees. Bingo was doing great, weaving around small rocks and roots. Bluey sped ahead, laughing as she bounced over bumps. "Come on, Bingo, keep up," Bluey called. "I'm coming," Bingo shouted, pedaling faster. But as they rode deeper into the forest, the trail started to get trickier. There were steeper hills, tighter turns, and bigger roots sticking out of the ground. Bingo focused hard, remembering Bandit's advice to keep her hands steady. When they reached the creek crossing, Bingo stopped and stared. The shallow water sparkled in the sunlight, and large flat stones created a bumpy path across. "Whoa, do I have to ride over that?" Bingo asked, her voice a little wobbly. "You can try if you want," Chili said, stopping beside her. "Or you can walk your bike across. It's up to you." Bluey, already halfway across, called back, "Come on, Bingo, you can do it." Bingo took a deep breath. "Okay, I'll try." She carefully pedaled forward, her tires splashing in the water. The rocks were slippery, and she wobbled a bit, but she didn't stop. With one last big push, she made it to the other side. "I did it!" Bingo shouted, her tail wagging furiously. "Nice one, Trailblazer," Bandit said, giving her a high five. "Yeah, good job," Bluey admitted, impressed. The trail continued, leading them through a tunnel of tall gum trees. Bingo started to feel more confident, even on the trickiest parts. She laughed every time her bike bumped over a root or splashed through a muddy puddle. When they reached a clearing with a beautiful view of the valley below, the family stopped for a rest. Bandit spread out the picnic blanket, and Chili handed out sandwiches. "This was the best ride ever," Bingo said between bites. "I didn't even think I could do it at first, but now I want to ride even farther next time." "You've come a long way, Bingo," Chili said, giving her a squeeze. "You should be proud of yourself." "Yeah," Bluey said, grinning. "But next time, I'm definitely going to beat you down the hill." "Oh, you're on," Bingo said, laughing. As the family packed up and started the ride home, Bingo looked around at the trees and the winding trail. She felt braver and stronger than ever before, like she could take on any adventure. That night, as she lay in bed, she whispered to herself, "I really am a trailblazer." Then she closed her eyes, dreaming of even bigger adventures waiting for her and her trusty bike. It was a calm, sunny morning when Bingo decided to take a long, peaceful ride along one of her favorite dirt paths. This time, she didn't want a big adventure or a race with Bluey. She just wanted to enjoy the ride, feel the breeze, and see all the beautiful things around her. "Have fun, Trailblazer," Bandit called as Bingo pedaled away from the house. "Thanks, Dad," Bingo waved. "I'll be back before lunch." The dirt path began just past the park, winding gently through tall gum trees. Bingo smiled as her wheels crunched over the sandy trail, the sound mixing with the rustling of the leaves above. The first thing Bingo noticed was a flock of galahs perched in a tree. Their pink and gray feathers stood out brightly against the green leaves. As she rode past, they took off in a flurry of wings, squawking happily. Bye, galahs, Bingo called, waving. Further along, she spotted a big kangaroo hopping across a grassy clearing. It paused for a moment to look at her, its ears twitching before bounding away into the trees. Wow, you're so fast, Bingo said, giggling. The path curved alongside a sparkling creek where a group of ducks waddled in and out of the water. Bingo stopped for a moment to watch them. One duckling paddled furiously to keep up with its mum, and Bingo laughed. You're doing great, little ducky, she encouraged before hopping back on her bike. As she pedaled farther, the trees opened up into a sunny meadow filled with wildflowers. Bingo could see bright yellows, purples, and whites swaying gently in the breeze. A butterfly flitted past her handlebars, its wings flashing blue and black. Hi, butterfly, Bingo said, watching it dance through the air. The dirt path then took her up a small hill where she could see far into the distance. Below, the valley stretched out, dotted with trees and little ponds that glittered like silver coins in the sunlight. It's so pretty up here, Bingo whispered to herself, taking a deep breath of the fresh air. On the other side of the hill, Bingo came across a fallen log beside the trail. Sitting on it was a friendly kookaburra, laughing its famous laugh. Bingo laughed along with it. You're funny, Mr. Kookaburra, she said as she rode by. The trail led her back into the forest, where the air was cool and shaded. She saw a possum peeking out from a hollow tree and a goanna lazily sunning itself on a rock. Bingo slowed down so she wouldn't disturb them. Near the end of the trail, Bingo heard a faint buzzing sound and looked up to see bees buzzing around a big gum tree. They were busy collecting nectar from the flowers. Good job, bees, she said. You're working hard today. Finally, the trail ended at a little pond surrounded by reeds. Bingo stopped her bike and sat on a rock, watching the water ripple in the breeze. A pair of dragonflies zipped back and forth over the surface, their wings shimmering like rainbows. This is the best ride ever, Bingo said softly, feeling peaceful and happy. After a while, Bingo stood up, stretched, and climbed back onto her bike. She pedaled home, humming a tune to herself and thinking about all the amazing things she'd seen. When she arrived, Chili was waiting for her with a glass of water. How was your ride, sweetheart? It was beautiful, Mom, Bingo said, smiling. I saw flowers, butterflies, ducks, and even a laughing kookaburra. Sounds like you had a magical morning, Chili said, giving her a hug. I did, Bingo said, her tail wagging. Can I ride the trail again tomorrow? Of course, my little trailblazer, Chili said, and as Bingo sat down to rest, she couldn't wait to see what peaceful surprises her next ride might bring.